This is the Schwans27 asking, host migrations in Call of Duty? How is this still a thing? Call of Duty somehow still runs on a hybrid peer-to-peer connection system with some dedicated servers instead of solely on dedicated servers like every other modern shooter game you can imagine. This means that the game picks a player to host the game, and sometimes that player has their brother downloading porn, which slows down the connection to the host, making a game unbearable. Like, who the fuck downloads porn anymore? Haven't you ever heard of X videos? Also, the host can leave a game, and that means the other players in the lobby are shit out of luck. Back in 2007, when Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was being sold as a standalone game instead of bundled with a beer coaster, there were only peer-to-peer connections for games, meaning that one player was forced to be host of a game. If the host would leave the game, then the match would end immediately. This continued with World at War, and it frustrated players that were giving enemy players the dickage, only to have their great game cut short by somebody that didn't want to take their ass beating like a Mayan! Then in Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward introduced the host migration feature, which would take the game settings from the host that was leaving the game, and then calculate which player was the most fit to be the new host, and the game would pick up right where it left off before the host left. Except for your kill streaks, they got all fucked up because time had actually elapsed when it didn't really elapse because the host migration went to go set the timer back in time. Anyway, this feature has been rolled into every other game since then, including the current one, Black Ops 3. Unfortunately, there are still issues with this system in regards to a player dashboarding or stopping the game application or turning off their console, which means that the host migration process cannot read the current game state from the host because he made like David Copperfield and just disappeared. Instead, the lobby is dropped altogether, which is basically the same behavior as it was in Call of Duty 4 and World at War. Starting with Call of Duty Ghosts, Activision has graciously given some dedicated server support to Call of Duty, which has significantly reduced the number of host migrations that occur. However, that number is still non-zero, and it's re-fucking calculus. I made a Zombie Lies video about the dedicated server subject, and Activision can certainly afford to outfit dedicated servers for almost all of the players in the game. I understand that peer-to-peer connections work better for people in remote places, since there won't be enough player population pockets, try saying that 5 times fast, to justify a dedicated server. However, for someone like me that lives 90 miles north of New York City and less than 2 hours away from a giant bank of dedicated servers located in northern New Jersey, I should always be connecting to a dedicated server because I'm not playing Call of Duty from East Bumblefuck in a remote corner of the world. To maintain the overhead of this ghetto-rigged hybrid system must also be cumbersome and very prone to errors which negatively impact everyone's experience. Until people start playing better games and realizing how much better it is at time to play with minimal lag and without having entire games drop for no good reason, this cycle will continue. People were enraged about the supply drop fiasco, having Activision making tons of money on them. They've got more than enough dough to shell out in order to afford the dedicated servers, which is why I'm asking, host migrations in Call of Duty? How is this still a thing?